ask me a question, brother. One last question.
So you believe in Noah's Ark, and there is a certain number of kinds on Noah's Ark. I'd guess probably around 7,000, just to throw a number out. And right now, there's currently about 6.5 million species of animals that live on land. That means that approximately 4 species would have to be created every single day. Which, by species, I just mean about like several 100,000 differences in the genetic code. So is that an accurate representation of your theory, that you believe that there is a certain number of kinds on the Ark, like 7,000, and there's currently about 6.5 million estimated species?
Are you asking me how can you get that amount of species in 4,000 years?
Right, because there'd have to be at least like 10,000 differences per day.
Yeah, I actually, that was a big portion of my opening with the created heterozygosity hypothesis. If you've got these heterozygous ancestors that God encoded with these pre-existing functional DNA differences, because we know there's millions and millions of DNA differences, nuclear DNA differences that separate species and families. So if those are encoded by God at the start of their existence, an almost limitless variety of combinations of chromosomes, genes, and traits are actually possible. So when you look to that model, we don't just look to mutations there, Tom. We look to recombination, gene conversion. They're going to provide many new varieties of these combinations of traits that I'm talking about quickly, since the differences are already built in. So it makes testable, falsifiable predictions that I've talked about earlier.
My question was a little bit different. I was asking because in order to account for those species, you would need to have 4 new species every day. And a new species, I'm simply just defining as something that has hundreds of thousands of genetic differences, which means in order to account for these new species, you need hundreds of thousands of differences every day. Your theory seems to have a much greater evolution than ours.
I just don't think you understand what I mean by built-in genetic differences. There's millions of DNA differences in the nuclear DNA. So if these were built in at creation, created heterozygosity hypothesis, obviously through recombination and gene conversion, these new traits, new species would come about quickly, especially post-creation, immediate post-creation, post-flood.
I think you're saying that it's pre-programmed, that the species are pre-programmed into the DNA?
The genetic diversity is pre-programmed. Actually, there's a paper out. I would recommend you look at it. It's a fulfilled prediction from, based on the created heterozygosity hypothesis. It's about finches, because we predict shifts from heterozygosity to homozygosity, right? Heterozygous DNA sites to more homozygous DNA sites would produce new species quickly, even in observed time. So we've seen just recently, observed time, new finch species came about through shifts in heterozygosity to homozygosity. So because we've just studied speciation and speciation events recently, the more that we do study, that's another testable prediction. There's going to be more observed cases like these finches, many more. But the thing is, it has slowed down since the flood. So there's certain rates, mutation rates, predictions have been made. I would just tell people to read Replacing Darwin, very, very complex technical book, but it's all there. It's very fascinating.